In this video, we will see how to conduct hypothesis tests about two samples when we do not know the population standard deviation. In this case, we will be estimating the population standard deviation or approximating it using the sample standard deviation. So instead of a z-test, this will become a t-test. Again, we will do this with two cases. One, when we have the raw data, and secondly, as in this case, when we have only the summary stats. So we want to see if the number of English classes taken between men and women at a college, university differs. We have data on 29 men and 16 women. And on an average, men took 3 English courses with a standard deviation of 0.8, and women took 4 English courses with a standard deviation of 1. And again, these are standard deviations based on the sample instead of the population. So to conduct this test, we will again go to two sample mean. We have summary stats. We will choose summary stats. And then we will start formulating our test. Now we have to first figure out, the question says men and women are the means statistically the same. So we are doing a two-tailed test. So when we set up the hypothesis, our null is that mu1 minus mu2, or men minus women, is equal to 0. And rejection of the null will mean that the means are not statistically the same. So let's now put in our data. We, instead of z, will choose the t-test. We will choose the two sample mean. And one more adjustment we will make is that we are given different variances or standard deviation, so we'll click on the second button, which is unequal variances. So now, again, 2 becomes 1, 1 becomes 2, because jump does 2 minus 1. So we will put the information for men for 2, and we have 29 men, and they took an average of 3 English courses. So our mean for sample 2 will be 3. Our sample standard deviation is 0.8. And our sample size is 29. For our sample 1, which is women, our mean is 4, because it tells us on an average women took 4 English courses. We'll put mean as 4. Our standard deviation is 1. And our sample size is 16, so I'll put in 16 here. So that's all the option we need to conduct a two-sample test when we do not know the population standard deviation. Based on this, our t-score is minus 3.4387. So men minus women, it's a negative number, because on an average men took fewer English courses than women. But the question is this statistically different or it is not? And based on the fact that our p-value is 0.002, it is lower than our 5 or even 1% alpha level. So in this case, we will reject the null. So the average number of English courses taken by men and women are indeed different. Now consider the case where we have raw data instead of summary stats. So here we have time to completion of a project using two different information systems, the current one and then the planned update. So our question is to see if the new system leads to any improvements. So in this case, we will be setting up mu1 minus mu2. So if we see that the time to task is less in the new system, then mu1 minus mu2 we hope to find should be greater than 0. That means that the first system was taking longer time on an average to complete the tasks than the second system. So this will be our right tail test, and we will set up the appropriate hypotheses, and then we will use jump to do the calculation. So our data here is already been stacked. We have current, new, current, new, current, new. Again, jump, when it does a test, will do 2 minus 1. So it will do new minus current. But we want to do the test in the form of current minus new. So we can again tell jump that current is level 2 and new is level 1. So we click on the label, right click, column properties, value order, and here I'll bump new to level 1. And we click OK. So now when we do this test, JMP will know that in doing 2 minus 1, JMP will actually do current minus new, the way we want our estimate and the t-stat to be set up. So same process. Again, we go to sample index. We click on to sample. This time we will choose raw data because we have our data in the right format. We have it all stacked. If it was not stacked, we would have done this 2 samples in 2 columns as we've seen before. So click on raw data. Label is in label, and our data is in the data column. We click OK. So now our test is indeed our current minus new. And we do not know the population standard deviation. We're using the sample, so I will click on the t-test. We will again assume unequal variances because the data will, or variance standard errors will be calculated from our samples. We will have a separate standard error for current and another one for new. And this time we are doing a right tail test. So I'll choose this option, right tail test. And our t-stat that we get is 2.27. The critical value of t-stat is 1.71. And in this case, our p-value is 0.01. So our p-value is very extreme. It is lower than our level of significance, which is alpha equals 0.05. So there's only a 1% chance that the sample that we're looking at is coming from the population where the null is true. So we can reject the null at alpha equals 0.05. So we reject the null. So again, we can conduct our t-tests of when we have 2 samples and we do not know the standard deviation of the population by either giving the input for standard deviation of the sample, or if we have raw data, then letting JMP calculate the standard sample deviation and then carry out our t-test.